Right. Hey, Amanda and Sarah, thank you so much for joining me today. And we are recording another episode of Beyond the Usual. So, first off, Amanda, Sarah, it's been 2 to 3 years we know each other, probably through conferences. Lead Gen World is where I think we probably first met. And since then, have made it a point to stay in contact, check in with each other, and also make sure we are not going insane. So thanks so much for everything.
Fair assessment.
Right.
This is the beauty, right? Like with conferences, networking, you get to meet people that you probably may have never met, but then 5 to 10 minutes of conversations, you know everything about their life, or you start finishing up each other's sentences or roll eyes when you disagree. So let's share some of those today. So for today's format, because it's the three of us and not one-on-one, we'll each ask each other one question each and just go in rounds. So I will go ahead and start with the first one for Sarah. So Sarah, you are wearing Link Unite. Thank you so much. Tell us a little bit about Link Unite and also the idea behind what the inspiration was to bring women leaders together as Link Unite does, and what has been your strong takeaway or learning or a practice you've adopted from these women leaders that come together.
Sure. So Link Unite, the way I see it is it's a movement to support all women in business. Amanda and I started in this industry several years ago. We met, she was a client of mine, and we just wanted a way to support each other. And then when we started to support each other, we were like, everybody needs this, right? And so we just started Link Unite as a movement of supporting women because we needed that in our own careers. And so it's just been an amazing thing to just circle up this tribe of women that we have, like you, Aru, and all the other women that we have. It's just honestly, it's inspiring to see everything that's come out of this. We have a mentorship program, a membership program. We're placing women in new jobs. We're putting several women up on stage, and it's just honestly been fabulous. But my rules are pretty simple. Open communication and listening. I think that's one thing that we're really good at is listening to women. What they're really trying to do in both their professional and personal careers. And show up. Amanda and I say this all the time, just show up, be there for people, go to those events, go to those, networking things and talk to people and just be a human. And I always say, just be a good person. I think Susanna Rayburn from Diablo bought us a shirt that literally just says, be a good person. And it seems so simple, but it's not, it's really something that you can just take and show everybody that, hey, I'm open to anything. I can listen and talk to anybody. And that's what's made us so approachable as women too, that, anybody can come talk to us and share what they're going through, because most likely we've all been through it. And I just think listening is a huge piece of it, just listen, because some people don't have anybody that will listen to them. They might be working at a company with a lot of men, and they don't, they can't relate, or they might have, family issues that they're not able to, speak with their mind, speak their mind. So I would just say, show up, be a good person. Open communication and listening is huge.
Thank you so much. So you can pick your question and go to the next person.
Okay, well, I'll ask you, Amanda, I guess. So I have Molly. She's 17. She'll be 18 in September. And today we booked her first college visit. So I would like to ask Amanda, if you could go back to your 17, 18-year-old self, what advice would you give Molly?
Talk to everyone and anyone you can possibly put yourself in front of and figure out what they do, why they enjoy doing what they do, and how they got to where they are in their career. I think that I talked to a lot of people, but it was more like scholarship opportunities and getting involved with the school. And I think a lot of us going into college don't really know what we want to do. And I think that's true for everybody. And especially when we went to school, it was like, you just go start your core classes and the rest of it, you'll figure it out, right? Like that's what
Right.
everyone told us. Like, you'll figure it out. You can transfer into your 3 or 4 year school, after. But I think if you can find people who are really passionate about what they do and simply just have a conversation with them about why they're passionate about what they do. Because sometimes, they're building certain things, but that's not where they started. Like, how did you get to where you go? And just reaching out to them and saying, hey, can you just share your story with me over a cup of coffee, or can we go to lunch, or whatever it is? I think it's like an expedited process of kind of going through the academic, gauntlet of which major am I going to pick? You know what I mean? And what do I
Right.
want to do with my life? It's finding practical application through people that have already experienced it. So that's like my advice, is literally just find people who are happy and ask them what it is that they do and how they got to where they're going. I think that's like the best advice that I would have told myself going back, instead of living in the catalogs of how am I going to get my hours in? You know what I mean?
Right. No, I love it.
It's
Good
interesting how
stuff.
you said about happy, because the definition of happy is different for everyone. I think most people don't understand. I have a 12-year-old, and sometimes she's like, I'm bored. Can we do something fun that will make me happy? I'm like, define happy. I want to do nothing,
Yeah.
just watch you from distance. And that makes me very, very happy. So
That's a valid point. I think it's finding people who enjoy life. That's the better way to say it versus happy. It's like if they're enjoying life and they always have, not always, but they're always, genuinely, jolly and have a smile on their face, or they're always engaging with other people and extending their, hand backwards and helping people. Those are the people you want to emulate and figure out what it is that they've done to be successful in life. You know what I mean?
awesome.
Good
Thank you.
stuff.
Amanda, next question from you.
Yes. I'm gonna take this full circle and come back to Aru on the front of it. Kind of talking about, I think this is sort of in the same vein. You've built a successful businesses, and I know you've mentioned that you've had great partnerships and mentors along the way, and I've been lucky enough to meet a few of them. But what I want to know is, how important is it to have someone who's kind of on your side and can give you that 10,000-foot view and keep you in line? And how did you find those relationships through your career?
Thank you so much. I will piggyback on the happy question, because success also has so many definitions. What I personally feel successful versus what people looking at our company and us in the media look at it as a success, and different markers, right? So on that note, and going back to the mentors, it was all about networking and showing up to the people, asking them if they could give an advice. When I early on started out, and this is as true as can be and as transparent, I did not know if before I say hello and ask my question, there's always that concept of like give and take. I didn't know what could I possibly even give, because I have so much to take away from the person I need from. So it was very confusing as to, should I set up a coffee meeting? Is that all right, where I buy the coffee? Should it be a lunch or dinner? Should it be a steak dinner at an expensive place based on how many questions I have?
Exactly.
It was just like extremely confusing. Like, what if that question turns into some kind of an investment and then something happens? We didn't know what we didn't know. I didn't know how to approach things. So it's been learning with experiences and also observing. So many times when you're networking and someone says, oh, my mentor is so and so, such and such, and I've met them through this, as Sarah mentioned earlier, right? Showing up, then listening, absorbing, and then maybe making yourself out there. Pitching what the concept was about our company, what we want to do, what our target market is. I think all of those 19,000 different attributes end up building affinity towards, okay, I want to sell in the mortgage space. I've got to make mentors and advisors from that space. I want to go into insurance. Who are the key influencers within insurance? So I think all of that matters. And going back to our very, very close mutual friend, Michael Ferry, I think he's been one of a great networkers. Aru, what do you want? Where are you?
Right.
Are you showing up? Like, are you coming? So I think he's been a great support in opening some of the doors and giving that opportunity, even slightest as like, okay, maybe being on stage helps you. try doing it. Being on a panel helps you. So all those things help. And one thing I'll bring it back home to us is that those things, we are not going to start conferences and start inviting people. But what could we do from Charlotte, North Carolina as a team? We decided we'll start webinars and invite people to be guests on those webinars. That's our way of like recognizing people that are out there, their talents, their skills. Just 2 days ago, someone mentioned me, they were on our webinar few months ago, and they said, look, the role and the job I got was from the influence through the webinar. So thanks for at least tagging me and putting me out there. It means a lot. So sometimes you just don't know who's out there rooting for you and helping you out. But I think the most important thing is we should ask, get a no, ignore me, that's fine. But asking becomes the most important thing. We might feel vulnerable, but without asking, no one's tapping. One other friend I do want to mention is Ethan Ewing, like ProPair and from ProPair. Met him probably at the Volley conference, which was then called SoftView. And we took the, I think, Uber drive to airport. And that's how the friendship began. And after that, it was like, where are you staying? Which conference are you going? Who you meeting? When should we meet? So though we are both in the industry, but also do completely different things, our audiences, friendships, they are all in the network and the same.
Isn't it amazing all the people that you've met? Yeah, over the years.
It's those Uber rides to the airport. I swear,
those are
taxi rides to the airport than I have ever met in my life. Or getting out of it and being like, "Oh, I followed you."
Yes.
Now we get to follow each other to the airport.
Yeah. So many times, especially conferences, no matter how big the airports are, you land and you see someone that's a familiar face.
Yes.
So true. So true.
Oh, awesome. Okay, now we are going the reverse way. Amanda, so women especially try to fit in. Like we'll adapt, we are multitaskers, we'll try to look and feel the way the audience wants. That's how we carry to our family too. I'm like, this is this event, this is how you should dress up or show up. What would be your big takeaways from meeting folks in the conferences and in networking events? What would you say for anyone that knows has to attend events, but is little on the border of like, I don't know what an icebreaker conversation should be, or folks that do come in, are in the corner, not feeling the best, and then leave or drop off? What can you share to make them feel comfortable?
I think it's kind of to the point that you made, is finding allies. So like whether it's just a friend and just making a person that can bring you to dinner or involve in a conversation and have that natural banter off of, makes it very easy. But the main thing that I did is I would just literally go sit down at a table or sit down at a bar or get an invite somewhere, and always had kind of like simple rules of, kind of to Sarah's point, is just show up. Being there is half the battle, because most people don't even want to be there. It's very uncomfortable to insert yourself into thousands of human beings that, lots of stories, lots of questions. It's hard, but showing up is literally the hardest part. And I think that there's 3 key things that you can do, honestly, in a conversation that just makes it sort of effortless, right? At the end of the day, is ask lots of questions. If you're an introvert and you don't want to talk, people love to talk about themselves, and they love to tell you about their business and what they want to do. If you don't like talking, it's the perfect way to start talking to someone, is just ask them questions, whether it's business or personal related. Find something that is interesting to them and let them talk about it. And that naturally leads to step 2, which is figure out a way that you kind of have a synergy, I guess, in a personality, but it's actively listen to what they're saying. Don't sit there and wait to have your response to banter back and forth. But if they're talking about their kids, talk about kids. If they're talking about business, talk about business and what you've done. Figure out a way to just naturally play into that conversation. And lastly is be authentic, like just be yourself, because being yourself is what people are attracted to. So they're interested in authentic people. If you own who you are, people are going to be interested in knowing what it is that you know. They want to know why you're here. How did you get here? Who do you know? How can we work with each other? And so when you're asking questions and you kind of become that standoff person. I know that sounds crazy, but play into your strengths of sort of introvertedness, if that's it. It's sit back, ask questions, and then you become the mysterious figure. You know a lot about other people. You can really engage with them on multiple levels, and being yourself. It's just, you don't have to be anybody you don't want to be, because you've already shown up, which again was step one. I think that's
Right.
the key to a conference, is kind of those four things that sort of play into each other. But I think the easiest thing is really just, if you can find like your one person. Like Sara was my one person for a long time, because there wasn't a lot of, female representation at the shows, but also just finding someone that's like, hey, you want to go to this happy hour with me? And having someone just to go with or to stand with at these networking events, it just makes it a lot easier, because they have a network, you have a network, and again, you have that natural banter. It just makes it a little bit less harsh. And you can trauma bond together. You know what I mean? So we can all go to the conferences together at the end of the day. But those are my takeaways, and those are the things that I've learned over the years, because it's definitely a skill that's learned. It's not something that like I was proficient at when I started. I wasn't a great networker. I just learned that if you ask people questions and let them talk, that you can literally sit there for hours.
Absolutely. While you were sharing that, I remembered my first experience going to LeadsCon. I remember where I was staying, Planet Hollywood. And I landed, put my stuff in, got on the bed, and I'm like, I was so scared. Like I could hear my heart panicking. Like, what am I going to do? I'm in Vegas. I don't like Vegas. I hate Vegas. What am I doing? And I sat there and I told myself, the money for the flight and hotel is spent. The money for the conference is spent. No one knows what I'm doing here. I could just sleep 3 days and say, I attended the conference. And this was for my personal business, right? It wasn't even like I was going with for on someone else's thing. And it felt all right. But from there till now, I'm pretty sure, had I not freaking just stepped out and ventured out, Boss Clash would not have been today. I think it would have been an end business. Like 3 days of doing nothing. Like
And even extroverted people, you get burnt out, especially when you're on a conference circuit like we are. It doesn't matter if you love people and you love to talk. You hit that 13th show in Vegas for the year and you don't want to talk to anyone. You're sitting in the bar, just, at Cosmo, like most of us do, hoping it would end. But it's nice when you have other people there with you. And so like, even if you can think about these fundamental principles, like, hey, I don't really want to talk right now, but if I ask questions to this person, it just takes some of that pressure off of me having to be on all of the time. Right. And it's like, it's challenging yourself. That's the other thing, is I think we all kind of have that in common, and the industry has that in common, is we do like to challenge ourselves. And part of challenging yourself is getting out and meeting people that you don't know, and being uncomfortable and being challenged in your thoughts and the things that you do in your business practices and things like that. It's healthy.
It is absolutely, yes. And then you realize the stories are same across, and you feel like, oh, everyone's the same. Everyone's got the same issues. Everyone's not comfortable with certain things, but they are showing up.
Exactly. We're all more alike than we are different, for the most part.
True. Yep.
I really like that point though, be yourself, because I feel like when we all started many years ago, you tried to be this person that you thought people would like or want to talk to or network with. So that took me a couple of years to get to that point where I'm like, all right, I'm from Boston. This is who I am. I can't change. I can't wear super high heels because I can't walk in them. This is who I am. And also, I just have to say this, Aru, you'd appreciate this. When we leave, Amanda and I typically don't stay out too late when we're at industry events. And I always tell her when we're leaving anywhere, like, head down. Do not engage with anybody. Like, keep walking, because I'm telling you, she'll talk to like literally everybody. I'm like, okay, it's 11 or 11:30. I'm like, we need to get back to our hotel room. We got an early morning. Head down. Go.
Sara builds in buffer time. Like when she wants to leave, she's like 30 minutes before she leaves, because I'll talk to every human that I can literally find on the way out. She's like, head down. Get out of this building. For the love of God, it's time to go, or to the airport.
I think it's the phases of life, right? Because I know, from not wanting to leave that hotel room to I got to a phase where I would care less. This is Vegas. I would yell people's name because I'm like, you're right there. You better look at me and come talk to me. And now recently, our previous conference, I was like, head down. Don't say hello until they say hello, or just keep going, because you get exhausted at some point. It's like the same conversation, the same things. It's not to isolate or ignore, but at some point you just have to put yourself to bed and not
Right.
hang out till 3 a.m. and
Right.
There's
Well, because
a
you got to do
healthy-
the same thing the next day.
early morning.
So, right.
That's our rule is in before midnight. Nothing good happens after midnight. It's time to go
Oh,
to bed. It's
amen, sister.
circle the wagons and let's go home.
Yeah.
And Sarah, when you said like you started being authentic, I don't know what it was, but I was talking to one of my friends and she said 40 is when it hits, because you've lived like
Yeah.
what someone else or people around you want. And when you're celebrating your 40th birthday, it's like, go to
This
hell.
is who I
This is
am.
my
Like,
life.
I
You
know.
will get me
Seen
starting
it.
tomorrow. This is me.
It's true. And I think even in business, you know what I mean? It's like, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to chat about. You want to talk sports? Of course, I'll talk sports. It's funny though. I see the younger generation where we were, few years ago, trying to be these different people, having to wear certain clothes and, say certain things and be out in certain places till super late. And they'll learn the hard way.
They will.
Hopefully,
Yep.
Link
Not even
Unite can
take the
help
hard
them.
way. I think it's just they'll figure it out where it's like I can
Right.
get the same amount of that extra to staying out to 4 a.m. maybe with my girlfriend or someone from a show that I just don't get to see. That's one thing. But like to be out at a party or an event till 4 a.m. to be honest with you, you're not going to get anything done in those 4 hours that you couldn't have done in the sober hours before midnight with the same human.
Right.
I think that's a good way to look at it at the same time.
And also, I think every one of us has to encompass and experience it to know it's not worth the value of being
Exactly.
awake till 4 a.m.
Exactly.
Because
It's
the
true.
FOMO environment is at every age, right? Where you're not there is where the most important thing is happening. So once you
Happening.
experience a few of those, you're like, I know exactly what I'm not missing. And I
Yeah, if
don't
you can
care.
FaceTime me from that location, I will be more than happy to live it with you there, but I am not coming out. There's no way.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Tracy Laney sent us a text last night. She's like, "Ladies, I'm in Vegas without you, and are you jealous?" And I'm like, "I am
No.
0% jealous. I mean, not even a percent."
So do you need a care
Yeah.
package? Because we can have that delivered to the hotel room.
Right.
Tracy,
Wow.
Pooja, definitely, right? Like their energy is next level. Completely
Yeah, next level. So true. Well, Amanda has that. She did like 45 shows in 2 weeks last year. I feel like I was like, where in the world is she? Like, let me know what time zone you're on so I don't, call or text when I'm not supposed to be.
It's like the
And she
last note.
managed.
That's the Halloween costume permanently for me is Carmen
Yeah.
singing forever.
I tease her, and she managed to get married too, among
I
every
know.
other.
Right.
I was literally like, when we were booking those events going into September, I was like, oh, all of these shows, oh, and then a wedding. And then it's like shows, and all the girls who are also at the shows are at the wedding. So it's like, we're all figuring it out together. Carpool's a wonderful thing.
Crazy. Yeah. Oh. Well, Aru, I have a question for you, and
Yes.
I see a lot of the women in the Link Unite membership and the tribe that we're building kind of struggle with this. So, as a CEO, how do you prioritize work-life balance? Because I think a lot of people could take some advice from you.
So early years, and sometimes maybe even often now and then, I used to try to prioritize and miserably fail. At some point, I realized everyone's got that many hours, and I started picking up 3 things that I've got to get done for that day. Those essentially are my priorities. Have I dropped something that was a priority for the team? Maybe, possible. It wasn't intentional. Have I dropped something that was a priority for my child? Possible. I think I still remember one of her first theater appearances or school stage thing. I wasn't there because I was too nervous to lose a sale and I had to show up there. Or even in our first year of business, she was 5, 6-ish then. First time I'm not a person who will let her go through like sleepovers and all that. Even now, that's a big discussion. But I decided to keep her with the neighbors or folks that were our friends because had to travel and get that deal done. So what I've stopped doing is questioning myself or feeling bad about what I dropped. And I think we do that more often than needed. Does that still
True.
happen once in a while? Of course it does. Especially with social media, you're looking at something, you see, oh, someone's gone to Disney, they're having such big fun. And I'm like, here I go, 2 years, I've not taken this child anywhere. Shame on me. Like those things happen, but I've taken it as it comes. Less regrets as much as possible. Tell the mind, done is done. Whatever future opportunities come, reprioritize them. Don't beat yourself around it because you're not going to get everything done.
That's such great advice. I say that to my kids all the time. Like, there's only so much time in the day. You know, I have to work. I have to make sure that you two are alive at the end of the day. That's how I look at it. When I get in bed and they're both alive, amen, right? I've succeeded in my day. It's been a win. But there's only so much, yeah, right? I mean, there's only so much you can do in a day. And I think women just give themselves such a hard time. I just see it all the time. Like, oh my God, I'm going to regret not being able to volunteer for this and that. And I'm like, listen, I'm the master of juggling, but you do have to say no sometimes. You do, because it's just not possible to do everything. It's not.
Yeah, one thing I will add though, and I'll admit, I learned this recently, I would say 2 years or less than that, is when you drop things, your family does come and help you. It's when you don't drop and then you throw a tantrum of like, you're burnt out and you're like, I'm doing this all for you. No one asked you to do that for you. Like they are fine bringing Chinese from outside or eating unhealthy. It's in your mind to feed them right and feed yourself right. So part of me feels like I should have done this a decade ago. Like just everyone, let's come together and work. I did not. So I think that in itself is a learning and a lesson. Like people do want to help you, your friends, your family, your contacts. You should let them help you, not by overly being vulnerable. I cannot do this, come help me. But everyone has a capacity. Be open about your capacity. Don't be a martyr. Like don't kill yourself.
Don't overcommit.
Don't overcommit.
And this is
So
perfect.
true.
This is the question I have for you, Sarah, because we're coming up on, as we were talking earlier, Molly is booking her college appointments. And Ruth, honestly, this one comes right back to you. I think it's almost double pointed. I'm going to come from this one. So now that your kids are teenagers and they're getting to that point of going to school and, you know, your life has, and they still will continue to circulate around your children, of course, right? But as they become more independent humans and go out and do it, hopefully what you've trained them to do, which is be productive members of society and build their own lives and their own relationships, what do you think your next 5 to 10 years are going to look like and how you're going to reprioritize your time around, you know, like what is it that you're interested in? What do you want to spend your time doing, for the both of you actually?
Aru, you want me to take this for a minute?
Oh, Sarah, that was you first. Don't even deflect that one.
She's ahead.
I think, yeah, I'm like, oh, Aru, feel free. I mean, I see myself traveling more. I would love to definitely go to some different places that I haven't been. And I actually like to travel by myself, weirdly enough, just experience different cultures. You know, Amanda, you're in a different spot in your life. So I'm hoping that, you know, you're going to be having this big fun family and I can go out and visit, you know, and spend my years helping you raise your family. You know, I definitely would be travel, be there for people. I can't even imagine my life not having kids in the house. You know what I mean? That whole, it's crazy because I feel like they've come first for so long that I can't believe that, you know, we're talking about colleges and my son's right behind my daughter. But I feel like parenting for me is done. You know, Molly's 17, Shane's going to be 16 in a couple of months. I've taught those kids, you know, the basics. Loyalty, respect is huge in my house. And they, you know, I'm a single mom, so they learn more things than the average kids probably. You know, they know how to change your oil and all these, shut off the main water switch in the house when a pipe is frozen and things like that. But I'm looking forward to having some of me time back. I haven't had much of a personal life for the past 5 years. And, you know, I feel like we work so many hours and we're juggling our kids' schedules that, you know, I want to be able to find myself again, I think, and I'll do that within traveling, I think. How about you, Aru? Can you even imagine
It's
what it's
funny you must
like?
ask. Yeah. So mine is still 12 and in the preteen years, right? So we are
Yeah.
still in the thing of if you see mom's face, you've got to do something to irritate her, intentional or not. So we are
Right.
still in that
Yeah.
happy
Those
go
are the fun
lucky.
years.
Yeah, those are the fun years. And I yell at her, and when everything is settled, I'll be like, "Oh, mom, sorry I did that to you, but I'm not taking the shit from her." Like,
Right.
sorry what I did, but that doesn't mean I can take this treatment now. I don't know. It's too early for me to think
Yeah.
how that will be
Yeah,
like.
still young.
Part of me feels like I may have regretful days for not having spent certain amount of time due to business or other things. Maybe, maybe not. But one thing I will say, she is 10 times, 20 times, 100 times more responsible when I'm not around.
Oh, 100%.
And I am proud about it. And it also annoys me because I have to work 100 times more when I am around on her. So
Right.
it's like, why can't I get the treatment? What you do, like wake yourself up, pack your own lunch, those things. So we'll see how it shows up. But definitely she's in that phase of like, someday she'll be completely great. Like I've got my homework, blah, blah, blah. And those days, I'm literally sitting around thinking, what am I supposed to do? Because one of my jobs was just to yell at her and get her on track. Like,
Right.
it's been 45 minutes. What am I doing? Like, do I go
Uh,
back to work or do I not work right now? Do I cook? Like, so yeah. So we are still trying to figure out what her uh, normal schedule looks like.
I love
I
that.
before Molly got her license at the beginning of the year, I would have this crazy schedule. You know, I'm driving, I'd be taking Zoom calls, bringing kids to practice, and now Molly does the bulk of that taxiing that I used to do. So I do have a lot of extra time now just because she does that. But I love your point about how responsible they are when you're not around because my kids, I mean, my house stays spotless when I'm traveling. You know, they're taking care of the dogs, they're making sure each other are at practice and school and making lunches. But then when I'm home, it's like they just expect, like, oh, are you gonna make, you know, are you making lunches today? And I'm like, what? I could be traveling right now. Like,
Did
can't
you
we go,
want me
you know?
to? Like, you never told me so.
Yeah, kids
Yeah.
are, I mean, they're resilient, but it's just funny how different it can be, you know, especially when they're used to. I mean, I've been traveling and working from home for so long that it's just my kids are accustomed to it. I remember I used to have like a laminated sign that I would have, you know, like shh, you know, mom's on a call, and then COVID hit, and then everybody does it. So that sign is gone. I got people walking through. You know, I mean, it is what it is. We're all just trying to work and raise our families and you know do the best we can. So
So,
good stuff.
all right. Sarah, I forgot in the train of thoughts. Did you ask Amanda the question already?
I did.
Oh, you did.
I
See,
did.
I've already moved forward. So awesome.
She asked me the Molly question because it's
Oh,
prime for
yes.
when she
Now I
sends
know.
Molly my
Yep.
direction. Let's be real, because that's what's going to
Yeah.
happen come sophomore year. She's like, you just go stay with Nancy and Amanda for a little while, and
So I
y'all
was
chit
that
chat it
was
out.
kind of my segue, Aru, into this. I was like, okay, so Amanda's in the South, so she could, you know, you could go live with her for like a month and tour any schools in that area.
It was a prime. It was a total prime. Exactly what happened just
Totally.
now.
These are things that happen when you have fun and happy, joyful moments. You forget how its time is flowing. So awesome.
True.
Ladies,
So
this has
true.
been fun. Anything you'd
Always.
like to add? Last parting moments?
I would just say this is us. And I think this type of banter is what we live for. And these are the conversations that we have every day. So anybody who wants to be a part of it or just be a part of anything that we're doing or contribute, like we're always, open to outreach and getting in touch via phone calls. I think I've had 3 missed phone calls from different ladies in the last couple of minutes. So it's, this is what we live for. I just think I just call out to everyone to just, if you want to have a tribe like this, come find us, any of us, we're always here for
Support.
support. Yeah, she says it. Yeah, we literally share a brain too. So there you go.
Support, yeah. We finish our sentences a lot. We're getting bad at that, or good, even right.
I would say it's good at that because now I don't have to ask. I'm just like, can you just proofread those things?
Right.
Yes,
Really
that's
But
appreciate.
not support, Aru, you know that, right? I mean, your earlier years, like what I would have given 15 years ago to have the support that we're trying to provide. It's just it's invaluable. I'm proud that we're able to do this, and I hope that more people get involved.
And sometimes just coming to a stage where you can provide that in itself is growth. So sometimes thankful that each of us are at a place where I can hire someone, or I can send them to someone that I know in the network. Like
Right.
even those kind of soft help is just, we could have been in any jobs doing anything, but we've made our choices to be here. So that in itself is shaping life. So
Everything happens for a reason.
Agreed.
It's all
True.
timing. So
Ladies, thanks so much. It's been fun, and I hope you had some fun and laughter too.
always, always.
We did.
Until
Thank
next time.
you.
Thank you so
Right.
much.
Until next time.
Yeah. Thanks.